one corner, we have the iPhone 12 Pro for $850. In the other corner, we have the Red Gemini, a $20,000 camera, and combined with lenses and accessories, probably more like $30,000. In my previous video comparing Adobe Premiere to DaVinci Resolve, the opening skit was shot on the Red Gemini in beautiful 5K. But we also shot the entire skit simultaneously on the iPhone 12 Pro in 4K. In this episode, we're going to look at the iPhone version of that skit and compare it side by side with the Red Gemini version to show you the difference, and in the process probably answer the other immortal filmmaking question: does gear really matter? Just shoot it on your phone.
I don't think so.
The fact that anyone can make a film, it's true. And you happen to be using digital as opposed to film or an iPhone, I have no idea.
Or you can just take your device and go out and make a little movie. Anybody can do that today.
But you can direct from your iPhone, from your cell phone.
These words have been uttered by many of the greatest directors in the world. Many of the greatest directors in the world who don't shoot things on their phone because they work in Hollywood and have access to the best cameras, crews, and actors to help tell their stories. This shoot it on your phone statement, this idea, has become prevalent not just amongst the Hollywood elite, but also the general public. This perception that a phone can basically do the same job as a professional camera has also been perpetuated by the phone companies whose marketing campaigns tend to center around the advancements of their phones' cameras and technology. And there's recently been some pretty goofy puff pieces created as famous directors are paid to wax lyrical about the joy of filming a fake scene on the iPhone 13.
We have this iPhone that is a professional filmmaking tool.
It might even birth a brand new genre.
I have no doubt it will. Just given the size and given the ability to move this camera.
Exactly.
It will change the language of cinema in a very positive way.
So, is it really good advice for an aspiring filmmaker? Can you forget about shelling out all the money for the latest camera and lenses and accessories and just say, "Fuck it, I'll shoot it on my phone"? Well, guess what? We did just that. First, we'll play the skit using the iPhone footage only. Then we'll play it again side by side with the Red Gemini footage so you can compare them shot by shot. Let's take a look.
Oh, why? Why do you keep crashing? What's with all these bugs? What the hell? Who are you?
Riddle me this. What sits on every editor's desktop but is always buggy? Me.
Ah, you're an actual bug!
Not just any bug. The Premiere bug.
I hate bugs.
My boy, I've been in every timeline you ever made inside your computer. Premiere Pro is just the beginning.
What if I delete you?
I've been deleted before, but the Adobe Creative Cloud is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
I don't even want to be part of the Adobe Cloud. I mean, half the updates break Premiere or make it worse.
And where would you be without me? Without everything I've given you? The films, the web series, your cute little wannabe YouTube channel. You're nothing without me. Nothing! I made you. If I tell you an export's failed, you say, "Please, sir, may I try another?" When I unexpectedly quit, I expect you not to quit, but to start from wherever I lost your work and do it again. And guess what? If I glitch, you're still my bitch. Face it, I own your ass. From now until your last export on this earth, you're mine. It burns! What is that?
Bug spray. The power of resolve compels you. The power of resolve compels you. The power of resolve compels you. The power of resolve compels you.
Would you like to report this error to Adobe?
If you like the way I color graded that iPhone footage to make it look a bit more filmic here on YouTube, my secret sauce is using a film emulation plugin called Dehancer. So if you want your digital work to feel more like film, Dehancer is the answer. You can apply different film stock presets to achieve staggeringly different looks and finalize that film feel by introducing film grain, halation, bloom, and many other organic effects that transform your digital image to behave just like real film stock. Use my promo code in the description for 10% off and start perfecting your own film looks. Back to the show.
Oh, why? Why do you keep crashing? What's with all these bugs?
What the hell?
Who are you?
Riddle me this. What sits on every editor's desktop but is always buggy? me.
You're an actual bug!
Not just any bug. The Premiere bug.
I hate bugs.
My boy, I've been in every timeline you ever made inside your computer. Premiere Pro is just the beginning.
What if I delete you?
I've been deleted before, but the Adobe Creative Cloud is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
I don't even want to be part of the Adobe Cloud. I mean, half the updates break Premiere or make it worse.
And where would you be without me? Without everything I've given you? The films, the web series, your cute little wannabe YouTube channel. You're nothing without me. Nothing! I made you. If I tell you an export's failed, you say, "Please, sir, may I try another?" When I unexpectedly quit, I expect you not to quit, but to start from wherever I lost your work and do it again. And guess what? If I glitch, you're still my bitch. Face it, I own your ass. From now until your last export on this earth, you're mine. It burns! What is that?
Bug spray. The power of resolve compels you. The power of resolve compels you. The power of resolve compels you. The power of resolve compels you.
Would you like to report this error to Adobe?
Well, what did you think? Did we get the $29,150 better image with the Red Gemini? For me, I think the answer to that question and the idea of shooting on your phone is a little more complicated than you might initially think. Firstly, looking at this iPhone footage, I'll be the first to admit that it looks pretty good. But the primary reason for it looking good has nothing to do with the iPhone quality and everything to do with the lighting setup used by the super talented DOP, Isaac Newcomb. If anything, this exercise has illustrated the point that what makes a good image is not just about what you film it on, but just as much about how you light it. The iPhone footage looks really nice a lot of the time, and that's because the lighting is really nice. Any modern camera, whether it be a phone or a DSLR, will look pretty good even when compared to a Red Gemini if you have several $1,000s worth of lighting to help make it look good. So I think a big takeaway is just how much you should value an investment in your lighting setup as opposed to your camera setup. Another great example of this was the Freddy Krueger dream sequence refilmed shot for shot to promote the iPhone 11. Yes, the footage looked great because they'd rebuilt and lit a set to look exactly like an expensive movie set. Hair, makeup, sound, production design, costumes, and all the other professional tools most people don't have access to, totaling thousands and thousands of dollars, were present behind the scenes along with an entire crew to create the illusion that it was the iPhone's image quality that we were so impressed by. So what really created this cinematic image? The image quality itself, or everything that went into creating it? Be wary of false filmmaking profits. Despite the fact that yes, the iPhone does look good, there is always something unnatural about the way the lens keeps everything in focus. because depth of field is really what separates these tiny iPhone cameras from a full-size video camera's sensor. And to illustrate my point, even Apple themselves have sought to address this with the new cinematic mode in the iPhone 13. But that currently looks unnatural in a completely different way. Looking at the standard type of iPhone footage, it just can't provide the depth of field and separation between background and foreground that our eyes attribute as part of what makes an image cinematic. Our eyes pick a point of focus depending on what we're looking at and concentrating on. With the iPhone image, there is no point of focus. Everything is in focus. And unless you're filming a very wide-angle shot, it doesn't look quite right. It creates a flat, artificial feeling to the image, whereas the Gemini footage creates a sense of depth and dimension. Unless the newer iPhone models can make cinematic mode more convincing, this will always be a point of difference between a proper cinema camera with a cinema lens and a phone camera. The colours and bit depth are also far more limited on the iPhone with its compressed video. Of course, it's no match for Red RAW. The skin tones feel strange, colours wash and blend together, and highlights have a sharper, uglier roll-off that clips when there is a contrast between light and dark or a bright colour to another. The other issue we have not discussed is audio. What you have heard throughout the skit was the audio we recorded separately using a shotgun mic and the Sound Devices Mix Pre 3, not the original iPhone audio. If we swap them out and listen to the iPhone's audio, we can see it's a lot worse.
Are we talking about Final Cut Pro? Face it, Final Cut Pro is iMovie 2.0 and the O stands for oh shit. I better find myself a real edit program because this is for kids.
Good audio is, if anything, the most important thing to do well. So the idea of actually using the iPhone's audio in a professional set is not very realistic. The two big takeaways from this experiment should be that with good lighting and good audio, you can make an iPhone image work and perform well. But if you're relying on the iPhone alone, you will not get something to a professional standard. Even feature films like Tangerine and Unsane, which were famous for being filmed on phones, still use professional sound equipment, gimbals and lighting to get these movies to feel like, well, movies. So yes, you can just shoot it on your phone. The quality of your film will be relying on other more important elements if you want it to feel like the films you wish to emulate. Filmmaking is a team sport, and creating a great image is not about any one element, but a fusion of many disciplines that add up to the final quality product. Does the gear matter? Yes, absolutely. But the foundations of a good film will always be derived from a good script or story brought to life by great performances. And for us to appreciate and follow those two things to their fullest extent, we will indeed need good audio, and at least a passable image. And finally, all of those separate elements will need to be brought together, finessed and refined by a good edit. Each step supports the next. If one of them isn't solid, then, well. Notice that none of these things require a certain piece of equipment to achieve. They are skills, and those skills are the real commodity, not what you film something on. So these skills are the things you should put the most emphasis on doing well when creating your films. To bring it back to the original question of whether or not you should just shoot things on your phone, it all depends on where you are at with your film career and what resources you have available to you. If you're only beginning your filmmaking journey, you should never let a lack of equipment be the excuse that stops you from creating. If a smartphone is all you have and that's all you can afford, then absolutely start making your movies on it. It's a hell of a lot better than the high 8mm handycams I had to use when I began my career. And as I mentioned before, it's the foundational elements you should focus on first before you go looking at Red Geminis and Arri Alexas to shoot your projects with. They are, after all, just tools to help serve your skills and strengthen those foundations. So honestly, get out there and make your films any way you can. But if you're a little further along in your career and you are filming on a phone as a crutch, relying on its safety blanket of automatic settings that will do the work for you, using Apple's camera algorithms as an excuse not to start learning about lenses, to avoid pulling focus, to ignore the skills required to create a traditional cinematic image, then no, you should not just shoot it on your phone. Especially when many great cameras can now be purchased for less than the cost of a new iPhone. Filmmaking is about layers and adding progressively more depth to your abilities, whether that's in context of the images you create or the stories you tell. And introducing proper video and cinema cameras will help add another layer of depth and dimension to your work. Besides, at the end of the day, if you're filming on your phone, what separates you as a filmmaker from everyone else? I hope you've enjoyed this comparison video, and if you found it helpful, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. It was certainly eye-opening, even for me. And if you take anything away from it, I hope it's that you shouldn't let the gear you don't have stop you from making your films. On the same note, you should also strive to learn the craft of filmmaking by utilizing all of its tools. If you want to see me exercising my tools without expensive cameras or crazy lighting setups, check out my latest feature film, Older, available for free on Amazon Prime and Tubi. Links in the description. As always, I am the Savage Filmmaker, and I'll see you when I see you.